Love English Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Love English Podcast. We are here to help you move beyond the textbook and into the world of real, natural English conversation. I'm your host, Leo.
And I'm Emma. It is so good to be back with all of you. Leo, how was your weekend? Did you do anything exciting?
Hey, Emma. My weekend was actually very relaxing. I finally finished that book I was telling you about, but mostly I just spent the weekend on my couch, binge-watching a new TV show.
Ooh, that sounds like my kind of weekend. Binge-watching is such a key word in modern life, isn't it? For our listeners, it means watching multiple episodes of a series one after another. So you have to tell me, what show are you binge-watching?
It's a new sci-fi series called Chronosphere. And just like that, we've landed on our topic for today, how to talk about movies and TV shows. It's a huge part of everyday conversation.
It really is. It's the next level after you talk about the weather and what you do for fun. Sharing opinions on shows and movies is how a lot of friendships are built. But it can be intimidating. There's so much vocabulary involved.
That's why we're here today. We're going to break it all down. So, let's use your natural question as the starting point. You asked me what I was watching. That's a great, casual way to start. Another one is, have you seen anything good lately?
I like that one. It's an open invitation for a recommendation. So, you were watching Chronosphere. My immediate follow-up question is it any good?
A direct and perfect question. And I would say, oh, it's fantastic. I'm completely hooked. Hooked is a great word. It means you are so interested and invested in something that you can't stop watching.
Okay, I'm hooked. I love that. But now I need more information. If you just say it's fantastic, I don't know anything about it. So my next question would be, what's it about?
This is where we get into describing the show. I would say, well, it's a sci-fi thriller. The basic premise is that a group of scientists discovers a way to receive messages from the future, but the messages are all warnings about an impending disaster.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing. You used two very important words there, genre and premise. Let's break those down.
Absolutely. The genre is the category that the movie or show belongs to. I said sci-fi thriller. Sci-fi is short for science fiction, which deals with futuristic concepts, technology, and space. A thriller is a genre that is exciting, full of suspense, and keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Let's talk about some other common genres. What if a show was funny?
That would be a comedy. If it's a funny show about love and relationships, it's a romantic comedy, which we often shorten to rom-com.
And for serious stories?
That's a drama. If it's a story about crime and police, it could be a crime drama or a police procedural. If it's about kings, queens, and magic, it's a fantasy, like Game of Thrones. If it's scary, it's horror. And a show or movie that is based on real events and facts is a documentary.
That's a great list. Knowing the genre is the first step to understanding what something is like. Now, let's go back to your second word, premise.
The premise is the basic idea or concept of the story. It's the starting point. I said the premise was scientists getting messages from the future. It's like a one-sentence summary of the main idea.
So, if someone asks, what's it about? You can start with the genre and the premise. For example, it's a fantasy show. The premise is that a young girl discovers she has magical powers and has to save the kingdom. That gives a perfect, quick overview.
Exactly. Now, after the premise, you might talk about the plot or the storyline. The plot is the series of events that happen in the story. You could say the plot is full of unexpected twists. A twist, or a plot twist, is a surprise development that you didn't see coming.
Plot twists are the best. The opposite of a twist is when a plot is predictable. That's when you can guess exactly what's going to happen. It's usually a criticism. The movie was okay, but the plot was so predictable.
So, we've talked about the story. What's the next thing people usually discuss?
The people in the story, the characters. You have the main character, who is often called the protagonist, and the main bad guy is the antagonist.
You can talk about how well the characters are written. You might say, the characters are so well developed. You really understand their motivations. The opposite would be, The characters felt very one-dimensional, which means they are flat and not very complex.
And of course, that leads us to talking about the acting. The acting is the performance given by the actors.
You can say the acting was superb or the performances were incredible. A great phrase is to talk about a standout performance, which is one actor who is particularly amazing. For example, the whole cast was good, but the actress who played the villain gave a real standout performance.
I love that phrase. Another important concept is chemistry. When two actors have great chemistry, it means they work together in a way that feels very real and believable, especially in a romance. You could say, the two leads had amazing chemistry. I totally believe they were falling in love.
So true. Bad chemistry can ruin a romance movie. Let's cover one more area of description, the technical side. Things like how the movie looks and sounds.
You mean the cinematography and special effects. Cinematography is a fancy word for the visual style, the art of how the film was shot. You could say, the cinematography was stunning. Every shot looked like a beautiful painting.
For special effects, you can talk about the CGI, which is short for computer-generated imagery. For a sci-fi movie, the CGI was surprisingly realistic. And don't forget the music. The soundtrack is the collection of songs used in a movie. The score is the original music composed specifically for the film. You might say, the soundtrack was full of great 80s songs, or the score was so suspenseful it really added to the tension.
Wow, okay, so we now have a full toolkit to describe a show in detail. Genre, premise, plot, characters, acting, and the technical aspects. Let's now move on to giving opinions. How do we praise something we loved?
It was fantastic is a good start, but let's get more descriptive. If a movie was very exciting, you could say, it was absolutely gripping, or it was so intense. If it made you laugh a lot, it was hilarious. If it made you think, it was really thought-provoking. And for the highest praise, it was a masterpiece.
I love those. Now for the hard part. How do you criticize something you didn't like?
It's good to be specific. Instead of saying, it was bad, you can use the vocabulary we just learned. The acting was a bit wooden, meaning not emotional. The plot was all over the place, meaning confusing and disorganized. The ending felt really rushed.
A word I hear a lot is overrated. What does that mean exactly?
Overrated is what you say when everyone loves something, but you think it's not as good as people say it is. I know everyone loves that movie, but honestly, I found it a bit overrated. It's a great way to state a contrary opinion.
That brings us to a crucial skill, how to disagree politely. This is so important. Let's say I absolutely loved a movie and you thought it was just okay. Let's role play. I'll start. Leo, have you seen the new superhero movie? I thought it was a masterpiece, one of the best I've ever seen.
Okay, my job here is not to say, you're wrong, it was terrible. That's rude. A polite way to disagree is to validate their opinion first and then state your own. I would say, oh, that's interesting. I can see why you'd love it. The action scenes were incredible. See, I started with something positive.
That's a great technique. So what comes next?
Then I would gently introduce my own take. For me, though, I felt the plot was a little predictable. I kind of knew what was going to happen at the end. I'm using for me and I felt, which are I statements. I'm not stating a fact, just my personal feeling.
That's the key. It's your opinion, not a universal truth. I could then respond, that's a fair point. I was so caught up in the visuals, I didn't even notice the plot holes. And now we're having a respectful discussion, not an argument.
Let's discuss one more vital modern rule of talking about movies and TV. Spoilers.
Oh, this is the most important rule of all. A spoiler is a piece of information that reveals a major plot point, a twist, or the ending of a story before someone has seen it. Revealing a spoiler is a huge social crime in movie and TV culture.
It is. So before you start talking about a big plot twist, you must ask, have you seen it yet? If they say no, you can't say anything more. You could say, oh, okay, then I won't spoil it for you, but you should definitely watch it.
And if you're writing about it online or you're about to say something to a group, you give a warning. You say, spoiler alert. That gives people a chance to stop reading or plug their ears.
Let's put this all together in a final long role play. Let's go back to our break room scenario. You've seen a new show you want to recommend to me.
Hey, Leo, I know you were looking for a new show to watch. I binge-watched this series called The Crown last weekend, and I think you might like it.
Oh, really? I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it. What's the genre?
It's a historical drama. The premise is that it follows the life of Queen Elizabeth II from when she first became queen in the 1950s. It's based on real events, but they dramatize the private moments.
That does sound interesting. Is the acting any good? That's really important for me in a drama.
The acting is absolutely superb. The actress who plays the queen is a standout. She's so convincing. And the whole cast has this amazing chemistry. You really believe they are the royal family. The cinematography is also stunning. Every scene is just beautiful to look at.
Wow, you're really selling it. Is it very serious, or is there some humor in it?
It's mostly a drama, but there are some surprisingly funny and heartwarming moments. The plot can be a little slow at times if you're not into political history, but I found the characters so well developed that it kept me completely hooked.
Okay, I'm convinced. I'll add it to my watch list. But no spoilers. I want to go in fresh.
My lips are sealed. No spoilers. Let me know what you think after you've seen the first few episodes.
Will do. Thanks for the recommendation. And there we have it. A perfect, detailed, spoiler-free recommendation and conversation.
It's been so much fun breaking this down. I think our listeners are now ready to be professional film critics.
Let's do a quick final recap. Start by asking what people are watching. Describe a show using its genre and premise. Talk about the details, the plot, characters, and acting. Give your opinion using interesting vocabulary, not just good or bad. And most importantly, disagree politely and never, ever give away spoilers without a warning.
That covers it all. We hope you all have fun talking about your favorite movies and shows. Thanks for joining us on the Love English podcast.
We'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening to Love English Podcast. Remember, every minute you spend learning English is an investment in your future. Keep learning and see you in the next episode.